Well, let's give a check on oil prices. They're down a little bit, just a tick today, but they have been rising over the past couple of weeks to their highest levels since last summer. Of course, President Trump is considering limited strikes on Iran unless they come to the negotiating table and the two facts come together. Here's the president yesterday giving a timeline on potential action. Watch.
What is the goal if there is a U.S. military strike?
Well, we're going to make a deal, or we're going to get a deal one way or the other.
But with a military strike, is it to wipe out their nuclear program?
I'm not going to talk to you about that, but we're either going to get a deal or it's going to be unfortunate for them.
And you said today 10 days. Have you given them a deadline firm to make a deal?
I would think that would be enough time, 10, 15 days, pretty much maximum.
Jackie, you know Iran and you know energy markets, so you're the best person to answer two questions that I have. One is the match on? Is there going to be a conflict? Are the mullahs going to go the distance? And two, if they do, if there is a military conflict, what happens to oil prices then?
Okay, let's start with what the president is going to do, in my opinion. I've been watching this play out, and he is making the case and laying it for the American people that he tried to talk to Iran, he tried to negotiate to the best of his ability. If they are willing to say that they will not enrich uranium, that they will not pursue nuclear weapons, then that would be a deal, I think, that would be acceptable to this administration. My understanding is that they are refusing to do that, that they are saying we're not going to go past a certain point, but we still want to have the ability to do this and to do that, and that is not going to fly with President Trump. But this is part of the process. You know, when he went into Venezuela and he took Maduro out, I think there was a lot of intelligence and a lot of belief in the system there and the people that were waiting in the wings. They could take over the country, and that this was, unlike what the Democrats said, an act of war in some way, but that country would be able to pull itself up from the bootstraps and be able to function. This is a little bit different. We don't necessarily know what's going to happen. We're using military assets in the region. If the president does decide that he wants to strike, you don't know that you're going to get the government that you wanted to get. And so there's a lot of people in this country, his voters that'll be voting in the midterm elections, that will say, we do not want to get into another protracted long-term war in the Middle East. It never works out well for the United States. So the president is making the case that, you know, our security is vulnerable as a result of this. This is probably going to be, if he moves forward, something that he has to do. And I think that he needs to do that methodically, almost as if he is building a legal case to show everybody that he tried every option humanly possible before going that extra distance.
Well, let me go to Brian then to ask about the oil, because there's been a lot of concern about, and obviously oil prices have spiked up because of this conflict, but could our own production be increased so much to make up for what we're losing from Iran? We could get an extra 2 million barrels a day just from the Gulf alone.
Well, I mean, so let's think about it for a second. We've got great relationship with most of the big OPEC producers. We have a pretty good situation going on with Venezuela vis-a-vis our decision-making authority on oil. And we've got our own massive production. So I look at what's going on in Iran. Like the lesson of the past year has been, under this administration, when big things happen in parts of the world that used to affect oil, it doesn't affect oil anymore. And it's because Donald Trump, I think, is committed to it not affecting oil. The only caveat would be if Iran, at least temporarily, messes around with the Strait of Hormuz, okay? Then I think you'd get a temporary spike. But in terms of supply, not worried about it at all. And I don't think the president's worried about it at all, which is good because it doesn't constrain what he can do vis-a-vis Iran.
Well, in anticipation of something happening, oil prices have spiked up. The strongest stocks in the market are defense stocks, also Northrop and General Dynamics and Lockheed. And you talk Strait of Hormuz, 20 million barrels a day. Walk through there. That's 20 to 30% of seaborne oil around the globe. We're talking some big stuff here. That is the leverage Iran has, but it also would kick themselves in the teeth if they do that. So, yeah, we can make it up elsewhere, and we never used to be friendly with OPEC. Now they pretty much, I think, on our side. That is big time news if Iran decides to do something stupid.
Don't you think the Venezuela unlock changed the game a little?
Oh, of course. They have huge amounts.
And so the 20-30% isn't necessarily going to be the same percentage going forward.
Also, The Iranian oil goes on the black market to our enemies. It goes to
Yeah,
Russia, it goes to
good
China. India's been told you better stop buying it. So, to a certain degree, we care about keeping supplies the same, but, the people that are going to suffer are our enemies right now. So that puts the screws to them a little bit.
We did blockade the tankers coming from Venezuela. Could we do the same with the tankers coming from Iran?
Potentially, it seems like that's an option that's on the table for the president. But I'll just say this too, David. The president had drawn a red line when it came to killing civilians on the street. And the reports indicate that this regime in the last couple of months has killed almost 30,000 people. They were going into hospitals. People were laying there half dead and they were shooting them to finish the job, as they said. This is a president, I believe, who sticks to red lines and realizes that he's probably the only person who can liberate this nation. That is why, my speculation is that he will go through the process, but that he may end up doing
Marcus,
something.
really quick. We already saw a tough last quarter. That was the news that came out this morning. We were expecting 3%. It's what, 1.4, 1.5. It was a big miss on GDP growth. You combine that with the pressures on oil. I'm just wondering if the Fed now is in a corner where they're going to have to cut rates because they see a slowdown.
Well, I would wonder what their argument would be against it. And they kept inflation and tariffs at the front of their argument. With tariffs being removed, like we said earlier, I don't know what the argument is. The GDP is definitely not as good as it was.